everyone. Welcome to Conversations from the Vault. I'm Lauren, and I am here with one of my good friends, Brittany Lo, who is the founder of Beautini, a top hair and makeup service company in New York City. They specialize in weddings and all special formal occasions. And if that doesn't keep Brittany busy enough, she's also the founder of Beia, which is an innovative beauty company that launched when? A year or two ago?
July 2022, so about 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Oh my God, I remember the launch party.
Oh my, that's true.
Feels like yesterday. So Brittany is a busy gal, and I'm so grateful to have you here to chat with us and to kind of let us in on all secrets, hair, makeup, beauty, and Beia. So let's get to it. Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Thank you so much for having me. Love chatting with you.
Always.
And so excited to be here to talk about hair and makeup. So Beautini, I started almost a decade ago. It'll be 10 years in March.
Wow.
And we really started because we were initially going to be a hair and makeup service company. There's a lot of women who were in the beauty world at a company that I was supposed to be full-time at, and they're like, I am getting married, but I want to look like myself, the best version of myself, but I feel like a lot of these wedding companies do like these really big updos, they pile a ton of makeup on my face, and I don't feel like me. And so then I realized, okay, there's this huge opportunity for soft, natural glam, where we're really emphasizing one's natural features to make them feel their most beautiful in their photos, but also in real life too.
I love that. So yes, definitely Beautini specializes in natural makeup. But can you walk us through kind of what that means? Because we all want to look like ourselves and feel like ourselves.
Yes.
But then sometimes when you go for a makeup trial, it's different looking in the mirror than looking at your photos. So how do you balance that, and how do you manage expectations for the bride?
That's a really good question. So when we think about photos, sometimes, have you ever had a friend or gone to a wedding where you're like, whoa, her photos look amazing, but then in person, it looks really heavy?
Yes.
I think that's the issue, is with the lighting of photography, you need enough makeup because it can wash out based on the lighting and like just even the natural sunlight. And so it needs to be enough where your face is going to pop, but not to overdo it where you're only liking yourself in the photos and then you can't even identify with yourself in the mirror. And so I do think where the pop can happen is with your eyes. We love doing individual lashes over the strip to really build out some drama without it looking over the top. And so yeah, how we accentuate the eyes is probably like the #1 way of making your face pop. And then with skin, we want to remove the redness and blemishes for clients who are open to that, but we don't want to have to like pile on layers of skin coverage. And so I think finding that balance between making a feature pop like the eyes with your skin looking like skin will give that nice balance of looking good with photos, but also really beautiful in person.
So let's talk a little bit about skin prep.
Yes.
Because I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's our problem as women, but I feel like every girl I meet is like, I hate my skin. How do I make it look better? So obviously you've been doing this for a really long time. You also have perfect skin, which like is so annoying. But what are your tips? When should brides start to prep their skin?
Yeah.
When should they stop? And just what's your advice on having that like glowy, dewy, youthful skin that everyone wants?
Yes. The nice thing about getting engaged, we find, is the perfect life moment to invest in skincare that really works for your skin, and spending time with your dermatologist or an esthetician and like figure out like what's going to work for you, because the skincare products that work for me might not work as well for you and vice versa. And so I have sensitive skin, and so I am in the process of like playing around with certain brands, but I am looking at different ingredients. I like fragrance free. I like them, there's different preferences that I have.
Give us some brands. I have sensitive skin too.
Oh, do you? Okay,
Brittany, talk to me. What should I be doing?
Right now, I'm using this Wolasu First Aid face serum on my face before, right in the morning, right after using my Beia hydrating mist.
Also, not to plug Beia, but let's plug Beia. It's also really good for like a midday, end of day refresh if you're like going out after work and you just like all that makeup kind of soaked into your skin and you just need to revive it, the hydrating spray.
So that's 100%. Like I'll use it just as my base because when your skin is moist, your skincare product just works better. And it has a little caffeine into it, so it wakes me up as I'm drinking my coffee. I'll do the Swalasu serum, and then I've just started trying this Innes-free hyaluronic acid face cream.
Okay.
My dream face cream is the Amore Pacific Time Response Cream. It is stupid expensive,
on this.
but I kind of had to wean myself off of it. But now that I'm getting married, I'm definitely going to splurge on it again.
And we're going to talk about the wedding in a little bit.
It's so good. But then at night, so during the dryness time, it's crazy because I've been having really flaky skin, which is not normal for me. And I was trying all these products, and then I honestly just used our Beia's like body and intimacy serum. It's the only thing that won't like make it irritated, but also make it go away. So I'll use that at night, weirdly enough, on my face.
Oh,
my mom started doing that. I was like, stop. And then I was sunburned, nothing was working. And I was like, I know there's no fragrance or anything that's too harsh in this. Let me try it. And I'm like, oh, wow. So I've been using that at night.
Well, New York's been so crazy. One day it's 40 degrees, the next day it's 60 degrees. Like, we're not built for this.
No, and the blemish, like, it just, like, it changed in the seasons and crazy. But then I also, from my own experience, we always say, but probably like 9 to 10 months before your wedding, go to your dermatologist or go to like a professional that you trust and create a game plan. Because I think before that, I was just going to get facials, just trying to get into this momentum of like keeping my skin nice and healthy. But it's kind of like going to a bunch of different doctors that don't speak to each other. It's like having one person that creates this overall game plan leading up to your wedding day. Then they know exactly what lasers you need versus what, facials or hydration or whatever. And so then there's a strategy behind your skincare versus like going to one salon, getting, or one spa, getting one treatment, going somewhere else, because they should be layered in a way that they're only helping your skin.
I agree.
And so I think about 9 months out, that's a good time just to create that strategy, and then going to that same esthetician and just build up that rapport so that they can really see where your problem areas are. But as we get too close, we've had brides try lasers and treatments for the first time like 2 weeks before their wedding.
Don't do it.
And then they're freaking out the week of their wedding because they have like these reactions on their face, and then it's just like a whole another layer of stress.
Yeah.
So I'd say like try to lock it in at least even like 6 months before. But once you're at that 3-month mark, just keep doing the same brands that you've already been working with. Don't try any new treatments unless that was already part of the big game plan, because you don't know how your skin's gonna react, and you're already under a lot of stress. That I just think like hydration, like a hydrofacial, and just doing like simple treatments, and then using your products consistently, drink lots of water, and you're gonna be set up for success. We find when people don't drink water during the rehearsal dinner, that causes the biggest difference. So like every glass of wine, have a glass of water, and like drink a lot before bed, so that way your skin's nice and hydrated for the morning.
Such great advice. Okay, so when are brides coming to you to talk about hair and makeup services? So let's say you just get engaged.
Yes.
We talk a lot about timelines here. We have all different vendors on the podcast. So what is your timeline? When does a bride call Beautini?
So an average client for us, they're booking, I think, 15 months in advance, which is pretty long.
Yeah, that's
makeup.
very long. So that's like one of the first few vendors on your list.
Which is funny because I got engaged end of May. I'm getting married next August, and I was booking the venue and our caterer, like the main people.
Well, you know who you're doing for hair and makeup.
No, we were getting requests for my date, and I was like, oh my gosh, if people are already thinking about this date, like I need to get on it, because it's like, this is my company.
It's Brittany Lo.
I need a slot. And so that was kind of crazy to experience. Wow. So, but then we also have people who are getting married in a few months or are reaching out too. I do think figure out your venue, figure out your planner, figure out the main guys.
Yeah.
But as you're thinking through your dress, the aesthetic, if you know who you want, I would say book them. And part of our guarantee, at least with Beautini, is it's so much about a personality fit as much as it is aesthetic. So like if someone's like tends to be a little bit more anxious of a bride, we want someone with very calming energy. If someone's really fun and this and that, we want to give you a team that's going to feel like an extension of your bridal party.
You want to match it.
Yeah, and so that's the thing is like, especially if you're working with a company like Beautini, like we also have a guarantee where it's like, yes, you may be booking over a year in advance. We don't have you come in until like 3 to 6 months before your wedding.
That was going to be my next question. Like, when do the trials start? When do you really have to figure out, am I doing hair up? Am I wearing my hair down? When do you have to make those decisions? Can it be like the week of your wedding for our indecisive brides, or is that like the Beautini stylists are going to kill you?
No, so we do say we don't honestly offer trials before 6 months anymore, because when people come in too soon, there's so many ideas. Your dress you saw, like that was 10 sizes too big for you. Like you don't really have your full vision with design of the wedding, your dress. So we honestly say the best time to come in is align it with a dress fitting appointment.
Which is usually about 3 months.
Yeah,
right?
about like 3 months before, because then you can either go to your fitting with your dress fresh in your mind, or have your hair and makeup, see what you think you want, then see it on with a dress. So you can just like visualize it in person to make sure it is exactly what you want. You know, a lot of our clients that we're talking to, or prospective clients, don't even have their dress yet, and so it's hard to decide on the exact hairstyle specifically when you don't know what you're going to be wearing. So like venue and where you're getting married, like getting married at the plaza is a very different aesthetic than getting married, you know, at Cedar Lakes Estates, which is a very outdoorsy. The dress is a huge piece of that, and then we also like to align makeup and hair with jewelry.
Absolutely, and we have so many brides that come in here right after their hair and makeup trial, so they'll come in here all beautiful and they'll feel great, and it's fun for me to see them like, oh, I love how you're doing your hair, love your makeup. They're like, love this, hate this. It's just always a fun conversation.
So what are your like top tips, like if someone's wearing an updo versus down, like do you recommend different jewels?
So I have what I like, but I think really at the end of the day, it's what the bride likes. Personally, I love a drop earring with hair down, or half up, half down. But like also that doesn't mean if your hair's totally up, you can't wear a drop earring. I think there's something about like a longer drop with the softness of a loose curl and a loose wave that's so pretty. But I don't stand by those rules. You got to do what you feel, what you feel best in, because I've seen it all and everyone looks beautiful.
And I will say, when I was picking out my wedding day jewels here, it was fun to be able to like talk to you about the dress, but also what I was thinking for hair. And then ultimately you're like, well, what do you feel most comfortable in?
That's number one.
And I think that is number one. And same thing with hair and makeup. Like the biggest thing that we see is someone will get this strapless dress or a really low cut back. And like, my hair needs to be up because of my dress.
Right.
But then when I say, how do you normally style your hair on a daily basis? They're like, oh, it's always up or it's always down. So then they'll come in. I'm like, listen, we can absolutely do an updo, but I think it's worth trying while you're here. Let's just do one that's half up, half down, or all down, just so you can see it, because 9 times out of 10, when someone forces their hair up, they see it and they're like, oh, this is exactly like the photo, but they don't necessarily feel like themselves, and ultimately you're not going to feel comfortable. And I think the best pictures and the best feeling is when you feel like yourself. And I can imagine, like with jewelry, with hair and makeup, it's all about like feeling the most like you, and that's what's gonna like radiate the most.
Right. Like I will have clients come in here and they'll try on an earring and they'll be like, I've never worn anything like this before. I'm like, okay, let's unpack that.
Yeah.
Of course you haven't worn anything like this before. It's like a,
you're not wearing diamonds every day.
Drop earring, but you're not wearing your wedding dress every day. So there's always a little bit of pushing someone outside their comfort zone, which I think is so fine, but it all comes back to like, if this is too extreme, it's not going to be right for you. And that's hair, makeup, that's dress, that's, you know, silhouette of your dress. That's, I think, everything. But when it comes to hair trends, one of the things we're really seeing, just like we're seeing dress changes, we are now seeing hair changes. Talk me through that. Do you think that there's a rule like hair up for reception, hair down for ceremony, vice versa? I have some feelings on it. We can
I need to hear your thoughts.
But you're the expert first. What do you think about the hair change, and what are you seeing?
So it's interesting because first look photos are, majority of the weddings that we'll do.
Yep.
And we're now seeing some brides want their hair down for photos, up for the ceremony, and back down for a reception.
So 3 hairstyles.
So yeah, it's like essentially 2 transitions for 3 looks.
Yep.
But you also have to have that time in your timeline.
Right.
And so I even was like, oh, my ceremony is going to be at like 6 p.m. And then I'm looking at when we need to start hair and makeup, and I'm like, whoa. Do I really care to do a hair transition? Like, it takes time. Every dress change takes time.
How long does it take? Like, how much time should you leave for a hair
It depends. Like, sometimes, like, say you're going from like a updo to like a half up, half down, we can build basically the half up, half down and then the updo. So then it's just pulling it out and like, re-curling. In an ideal world, we're like, give us 30 minutes. Generally about 20 minutes, can be less. But like, if you're looking at the specific updo and then you want your hair this way, like to get the best of both worlds, like it's gonna take time to get that. And so it just is a matter of like, how do you want to spend your time? But I do think it's really fun, honestly, even if you put your hair up in at the reception, or even the after party is really fun too.
I love an after party pony.
Me too.
Love an after
And
party.
honestly, you don't
gotta do an after party pony.
I am. Trust me. I was like, okay, I'm gonna I think honestly, doing it yourself, like having the hair and makeup team through first look till the ceremony, and then after the ceremony, if you're doing transition, I think is absolutely. But then towards the end, once photos are done, I don't know how much people really care.
Yeah.
And after a party, you're already hot and sweaty. You're changing a shorter dress. So if you can just whip up your hair extensions are already in, it's gonna look great.
Well, Brittany's gonna teach me at some point, whether it's on this podcast or hers, how to do a slick back pony, because I have not mastered it and I need your help.
Wait, I'm so excited. We were talking about doing this for maybe like a gala look of our Lauren.
Yep.
But I love it because now that I'm trying to wash my hair less, or I'm being lazy.
I need a dirty day hairstyle.
Yes, that looks
I need to figure it out.
And no one will know.
I know. I'm excited for that.
I can't wait.
Okay, so do you have a rule? Do you think hair should be up or down for one versus the other? Any strong feelings there?
So
or it's more of like a comfort thing?
I think only for photos, like the first look photos is the bulk of your portrait.
Yeah.
So whatever you want that look to be, I think is the priority. We generally see the updos for ceremony, but I do think I know what you're saying is like having some structure as you're dancing on the dance floor.
Yeah, I also see that too. Yeah. A lot of our brides want it up for the ceremony just because there's that like classic bridal look, I think, and then they want to let their hair down for the party.
So pretty.
But at the end of the day, when you have a party, you're sweaty, you're dancing, you're moving, the curls don't hold as well. So I'm always like, I kind of think we should do the opposite, but I don't know, it's so hard.
I think that the compromise there is a half up, half down, because then you get like the structure like around your face, like it's looking super chic. So
no one wants those flat pieces.
No, you don't want the stragglies.
No.
But it's funny because, I think that there's a process for everyone, but I do think a half up, half down is one of my favorite looks because it gives you structure even if your hair falls out, but then you still have your hair around your face to frame it and look a little bit softer. But also like a party pony, even during the reception, is really fun.
That's fun. We're seeing more and more of them now, I think.
And we're definitely seeing more like dress changes. Like there's just more fashion. There's more beauty.
Do you think we'll ever have makeup changes?
We do them. Yeah. So when people do a hair transition, like 99% of the time, you'll also keep the makeup artist.
Okay.
Because if you're gonna like put all that time into like this new glam look, you want to be freshened up, even if you're not doing a whole transition. But like ceremony, you're doing it in broad daylight. Reception's usually more of like a night look.
So we'll put on a little bit more.
You can do a little more glam.
I love that.
Clean up the eyes. Like I just feel like it gives it this like fresh look that's transitional.
A little Beia hydrating spray.
A little bit wipe to freshen up while you're getting changed.
I love it. Okay, another hard question. Hair pieces, in or out?
I think they're out.
Me too.
I think that we're seeing more designs on the veil itself, and then people are getting excited with the jewelry. But the hair pieces or the big brooches and clips, Yeah, I don't think so.
And what about a red lip for a bride, in or out?
Oh, I love that.
Ooh.
I do. I think, you know, thinking about a picture.
A red lip, God bless you.
Oh
You are
my
so lucky.
God, seriously. Like, I think that a red lip is so classy.
So classy.
And you are wearing white, so it has to, you know, it has to be, again, like something that you're like committed to, because you're going to be eating, you're going to be drinking, and you might not, if you don't
that
keep your
24-hour
yes,
lip
you
last.
need to stain. But I do think there's something so beautiful about a colored lip, and so oftentimes we'll either say like play up your eyes, or if someone's used to doing a colored lip, let's focus on the lips, and we can still have fun with your eyes. But that's the one that gives that pop.
Totally. It has to, you definitely need a softer eye if you're going with a bold lip.
Yeah.
Great advice.
I love that.
So as we kind of spoke about, Brittany is getting married in 2025 and recently got engaged this summer. How has like being a bride now in the thick of it changed your business and changed your perspective on working with your brides?
I have been in this industry. I've had Beautini, like I said, for a decade. I catered weddings for years before that, and I just thought I knew a bit about weddings. So I was like, this is gonna be a piece of cake. I still had sticker shock, and I'm still having sticker shock. So that was like the biggest learning curve, is that you work with all these different vendors on our weddings, but you don't really know the breakdown of like what everything costs and how it all works, and AV and lighting. Like, who knew you needed all these things? Yeah. So I think it's been a very educational process for me. But also then it pushes you to really realize it's all about your relationship and just having fun.
Totally.
Because then when you look at your guest list, you're like, oh, like we are really focused on a small guest list. In our eyes is like 150.
Okay.
And so it's really about like finding people that we have strong relationships to, that we really want there. But from a business perspective, it is interesting. Like even now we're starting to think about like the structure for hair and makeup. And I'm like, I want this and I want to do this. Wouldn't it be great to do X? And so it's provided more opportunities of like, oh, beauty bars at weddings, we do. We don't advertise that a lot, but I want that for our guests.
Yeah.
And even like just being flexible and like understanding, like when I've been transparent with certain vendors, like they've been very receptive, and they'll be like, hey, you know, we can't do this, or like, hey, this is what we can do.
Right.
And like having those conversations, I think were very helpful for me to at least understand, like, even with a videographer, I was like, well, can we just get these short edits? I don't need this long one.
Right.
And he's like, listen, Brittany, in order to get those short edits, we need that longer one. So it doesn't impact the editing process. So therefore, it's not like you can take it out and it will affect the pricing. And so it's just like good to understand how everyone works a little bit differently, and that just having that open conversation with clients has been really insightful. But it definitely, like, we've been meeting new vendors, same planners, who are now like working with Beautini even more. So it's really fun to be on the other side and be able to empathize on both sides.
Okay. And how do you feel like, obviously you've been in the wedding industry for so long, are there certain like pressures, certain things that you feel that like you have to do differently to stand out, or do you want that just like classic beautiful wedding?
It's very important for my fiance and I that it's not like too stuffy or too fancy. Like the day of will be, and my parents are like, well, your venue is like a little, it's not like too chill.
It's a classic.
It's just classic. So I think that like, we knew that like Friday we wanted everyone to like let loose and have fun.
Yeah.
And so it's gonna be around the pool, and we're doing like these fun like Asian inspired like small plates versus a sit down. So I think that there's decisions where it can lend itself to you as a couple, where it's like fun. We want people to like, we're gonna do like a roast. Like we want it to be where like people get to know more about our relationship in a very chill, fun setting. And so I think I've cared less about what trends there are, or like what the flowers look like, because in the day, like you're never, like we as in the industry, you see the most over the top amazing weddings ever, and you know, sometimes you're like, oh, so now I know how much that costs. Now I'll just be grateful if I have linens on the table.
Oh my God.
It's like where I live right now. And so I think it's just more of like, what do we want? Like, what is the ideal amount of time that we want to spend with people? And how do we want to spend our weekend versus like, how do we want it to look? Because the objective of how we want people to feel, I think will create a more meaningful experience versus just like an aesthetic that's pretty for Instagram.
I love that. I love that. And also there is so much pressure with Instagram and social media when it comes to weddings overall. And I think it totally impacts you as a bride. It impacts us as a vendor because every second we're seeing new things. Any advice to like yourself and also brides right now who are scrolling on Instagram, seeing all these things, wanting more, like how do you just like take a step back and realize, okay, this is reasonable, this is not?
I think it's exciting. So even with starting a business, we always say, pretend there is no limit. Just ideate, get excited about any photo, any idea, and just put it on paper and like sit with it. And then you slowly become more realistic on what's feasible. And I think that's the same approach that I've been taking with weddings is like, get excited if you could get married anywhere in the world or what it would look like. What does that look like? How do you feel? Like, what is the most important element? And then slowly once you like let it sit, you're like, okay, well, this feels more realistic. Okay, families mostly in the Northeast. Okay, let's not have people travel across the world. Like, there's little things that just come in to be very important factors because I want my family there. So if I want my family there, that means we want to have a local wedding.
Of course.
When it comes to hair and makeup, it's funny because I am at our office all the time. Like, do I have a trial now? It's 9 months out. Yet to our clients, we say 3 to 6 months. And I'm so happy I decided to listen to like my advice to our clients because there are so many directions you can go with hair and makeup. And even the dress whole process, like there's so many dresses that you could love, but you have to pick a vibe or a direction or a personality that you have to emulate
at some point.
And so I do think that even with hair and makeup, just keeping it a little bit like 3 to 6 months out, you have time to like get excited about Instagram and all these saved posts. But then also like process it and be like, okay, I like all of these, but how do I feel? Like which one's gonna make me feel the most excited or the most beautiful? And then by the time we get closer to the wedding, then you have a clearer vision on like what you actually want. And even with cake, like certain things like cakes, it's like, I don't know, like there's all these beautiful directions. You can do it like a nostalgic cake. You can do ones with flowers on them. You can do this. And so it's just like saving and just know that this is fun. Don't worry about like price points or what the reality is of these, but just be excited and then just see which one you resonate with. And then there's a way to, I think, dial it back to be able to be a little bit more affordable.
So obviously we know you have your pulse on everything. What is Corey's part in all of this? Does he have strong opinions? Is he kind of letting you take the reins? How has he been with wedding planning?
So it's funny, Corey, my fiance, I was so excited because even before we got engaged, he's like, because I was telling him about our dream venue, he's like, honestly, we might as well book it. Or like, what about this? And so I do think he's on all the planning calls. And the nice thing about being able to work with our incredible planning team is that they do help us make a lot of decisions. But I love that he's just as involved or almost as involved as I am because I always like his eye. Some people I know divide and conquer. But for us, we're always like, what about this? What about that? We just booked like a Shake Shack truck. So we're really excited about that. So it's like he did that. I did like the save the dates.
Obviously the guys love the food.
Exactly.
I mean, so do the girls.
Exactly. The band he was excited about. Invites not as much. So he's been definitely like truly there and excited, which makes it even more of a fun process. But you can tell we both like or prioritize different things, and it's cool.
It's amazing. It's amazing that you are planning a wedding, running 2 businesses. I don't know how this girl does it. She's like truly unbelievable. But tell us a little bit about your new baby, Beia.
Yeah, so fast forward to the pandemic. There were no weddings, there were no events, and I always knew that I wanted to create products, but I wasn't sure where the white space was in the beauty industry. It felt so saturated.
It is.
And so when I started Beautini, I realized it would be a really great opportunity to learn from women and empower them with hair and makeup services while understanding their beauty pain points. And so during the pandemic, when I didn't have anything to do, it was really just talking to our clients about what date they potentially might reschedule to. I thought it was a really great opportunity for me to build out this second business. And what we found through our Beautini clients is that they'd come into the office and they would be like, oh, like, this is great, my hair looks great, but like, I sweat really easily. Is this going to hold? Or, I sweat, when I sweat, I tend to smell. I'm going to be hugging 200 guests. Like, what do I do? Or I have this low cut dress. I have these blemishes all over. What's the solution? And I was like, I guess those are beauty concerns, but not the traditional ones that I would expect. And I too would, run from work to a networking event. And if I was smelly, I'd be like, I don't know what they're even saying. I just hope they can't smell me. Just like stay there. I can't even hug you.
It's a long day.
And you feel like self-conscious.
Of course.
And so Beia is really premium vegan body care solutions that address those like intimate concerns when you are in a pinch. You can't just go home and shower for that built-in confidence. And so a lot of our brides use Beia, our makeup artists use Beia, so it's really sometimes in our welcome baskets at weddings you see Beia.
Oh, I love
so it's a fun way to be able to integrate them both and have our clients essentially help give us ideas about upcoming products for Beia.
I mean, it's amazing to have literally your customer base in your office. It's so smart because to your point, you are hearing what everyone's pain points are.
Yes.
So we're going to look to you to fix all of them.
Hey,
What's next for
any questions? Beia?
I feel like we just got a new product launch recently, right?
We did, and then we're working on some other products. For us, it's again listening to our clients versus like looking at data trends and do whatever is trendy. But we're working with some really big retailers for potential launches, and we have some really big projects in the works, and I'm so excited. So 2025 is going to be big, but also Beautini. There's so many weddings happening next year.
Oh my God,
so
2025 feels big this year, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of exciting, beautiful weddings.
Excited. And a lot more. We work so much together, and I didn't even realize it. So many times I'll look on Instagram and we're tagged in a photo, and it's like, oh, Verstolo did the jewelry, Beautini did the hair and makeup, and I love it.
Dream team right here, getting your face all fresh, sparkly, and glowy. By the way, I feel like you need to wear these hoops at some point on your wedding weekend. They look so good on you.
I love these, and it's cool because they're actually not like a perfect circle.
Exactly, they're oval, but they have round diamonds, so they're a little bit different. We like to do things a little differently here when we can.
I was like, there's something different about it that I can't put my finger on. It's the circular diamonds within the oval shape.
And it just like complements, so many different face shapes. It's great. They're a great piece.
So hopefully if I run out, you don't notice.
I know, they look too good on you. I don't know. Well, Brittany, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your story with our community. I cannot wait for our little hair tutorial, so stay tuned for that. You'll either see it on Verstolo or Beautini or a share page.
Yeah.
We'll figure all that out. But thank you so much, and we are so excited to watch your wedding journey in 2025.
With me wearing my Verstolo jewels.
Oh yeah, you guys really, like the earrings she picked out are incredible. I cannot wait for you to see it. Thanks, Brittany.
Thank you so much.
Bye guys.
Bye.